And welcome back to the Daily Wrap. Before we get going here, I want to tell you about this great promotion we have going here at Newsmax. Newsmax wants to send one lucky couple on a 7-day Silver Sea cruise to the Caribbean this winter. Obviously, a luxury cruise on the Silver Wind is the trip of a lifetime. To win, you need to enter our sweepstakes. Visit newsmax.com/sweepstakes to enter. That's newsmax.com/sweepstakes. So, Senator Lindsey Graham, John McCain, and Joe Lieberman, dubbed the Three Amigos by the media, are feverishly working on destroying President Obama's Iran deal. In fact, the three senators have now embarked on a multi-state trek dubbed the No Nukes for Iran Tour. Sounds like a rock group. Aside from the deal itself, many critics are upset that the president took the agreement to the UN Security Council for approval before first getting a thumbs up or a thumbs down vote from the United States Congress. One of those critics is outspoken radio talk show host Rush Limbaugh, who on Monday said that when we allowed the UN to approve the Iran deal before Congress, we gave up our power in the negotiations. President Obama seems to have a different take on the situation. Here's what he said about his decision to seek UN approval before his own Congress.
I think it will send a clear message that the overwhelming number of countries who not only participated in the deal, the P5+1, but who have observed what's happened, recognize that this is by far our strongest approach to ensuring that Iran does not get a nuclear weapon. There is broad international consensus around this issue, not just among the international community, but also among experts in nuclear proliferation. And my working assumption is that Congress will pay attention to that broad-based consensus. All right?
So another critic of the deal, whose opinion is actually fairly important on this issue, is Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. He has said, some would interpret at least what he has said, that this agreement will not stop Iran from getting nuclear weapons.
این متن تصویب بشود و چه نشود ما از حمایت دوستانمان در منطقه دست نخواهیم کشید همواره مورد حمایت ما خواهند بود آنها درباره مسائل گوناگون دیگر
So Brad, you speak Persian.
I do not speak Farsi, but I have checked with a number of translation sources I use for Farsi news.
What was he saying, in your opinion?
What he's saying is that whether they will acquire one or not, they will never stop trying. It is a matter of national pride, and what bothers me is this may have been a deal this country needed to make, but it is a bad deal, and it will not stop Iran from getting a weapon. I don't say this very often, but I fear that Ali Khamenei is correct. It may, I hope it will, slow them down if in fact it is approved. But in no way is this the kind of guarantee that I heard the Vice President on a briefing call yesterday describe it as. It is not a guarantee that Iran never gets a weapon. Maybe it slows them down, but their aspirations are clear. Their unwillingness as a country to comply with UN resolutions is historic. And at the very least, our leadership is to say, look, it's a bad deal, but we need to make it because it buys us a couple of years. Does it keep Iran from ever having a weapon? Absolutely not.
So Heather, you know, I often wonder about this. In every country, there's politics.
Right.
So when you hear him speaking the way the Ayatollah was speaking, do you think he's really telling it like it is, or is he playing to the political base that he has in his country?
No, I think that they are singularly focused on getting a nuclear weapon. I don't think that they are like us where we have attention deficit and we're all over the place. I think that that is what they want. That is what they think they are closer to getting. And I personally believe that the sanctions that we had in place years ago were the best way to slow them down. And now that those sanctions have been lifted and they have all this money and all of this access, I think that they are thrilled. And clearly, you see the people, well, they were dancing in the street.
They don't have the money yet, and the reality is, in going through it, it does seem they have to jump through a number of hoops till that $140 billion comes home. A lot of those hoops are reducing how much that they're allowed to have, which is down substantially. It's not just a turnover. Joe, by suggesting even, and we're not the only place to have mentioned this, a lot of networks are saying that Khomeini really does intend to continue to try and acquire nuclear weapons. You know, how does this help them? They're gonna, if he's doing it now, then aren't we going to be reluctant to turn over all that money?
Well, would we be reluctant to turn over all that money?
Well, if he's
that's
trying
the
to
question.
get a nuclear weapon, you would think, wouldn't you?
Right, but how do we prove
too
it?
late.
Right.
They can
How
meet
is
the
it-
benchmarks in the agreement and still pursue a nuclear weapon.
How?
Because there are a number of ways. First of all, they can pursue the building of technology and reactors that will give them a 3-week breakout, which will begin in year 8.
As long as Israel has one, they will never stop trying to acquire one. They see it as an equalizer ultimately.
Well, you know, it's fair to say that. I think, you know, we also have to say we're never going to know until we know. That's going to be a long time. In any event, we want you to know what you think about President Obama's bypassing Congress. If that matters to you, if you think that hurts us,